I'm finally getting married! I'm counting on you for a wedding gift, so make sure it's something good, okay? Wait, you're getting married? Oh, congratulations, but what do you mean by that exactly? Does that mean you'll be coming to introduce him to us soon? It's important to meet him, right? It feels like maybe the order of things is a little off here. Huh? An introduction? I don't see why that's necessary. I mean, we're not exactly the most traditional family, right? Why start being all uptight now? What's with this sudden need to follow etiquette and all that? Just because I'm getting married now, you think you can act like some strict parent? When did you become such a fan of proper manners? It's honestly kind of annoying. It's not about when. That's not really the point here, Angelica. Marriage isn't just about the two of you as individuals. It's about bringing together two families, creating a bond that has a meaning beyond just the two people in it. These things matter, and they should be handled properly. If you don't, there could be misunderstandings or issues. You'll need to meet each other's families, and once both sides give their approval, it's respectful to have a formal introduction for everyone's peace of mind, don't you think? You're kidding, right? That's such an outdated way of thinking. Not every family does things that way anymore. Besides, our family's never been one of those super strict traditional types, right? We don't have to start now. Wait a minute, have you even asked what his parents think about all this? A marriage isn't something you and he can decide on alone, Angelica. If you don't handle this properly, it could inconvenience his family as well. And wouldn't they want to know about the family their son is marrying into? Not taking these steps could cause unnecessary concern for them. Seriously? I didn't ask for your opinion. Why are you trying to act like you have a say in this? If anything, you being there with your crutches would probably make things even more awkward for them, don't you think? They'd feel obligated to cater to you out of politeness, and it'd just be a hassle. But I'd be able to explain to them that my condition doesn't require anyone to go out of their way for me. I've learned how to manage perfectly well, and there's no need for you to worry about it either. Besides, using my crutches doesn't have any impact on your marriage, Angelica. That's something entirely separate from your relationship. But none of this is about you. Frankly, your involvement in my marriage is unnecessary. The only reason I'm even telling you about this wedding is because I expect you to contribute financially. I mean, I'm your only daughter, right? And let's be honest, you both only have, maybe 40 years left at most? So really, there's no reason for you not to put some money toward my wedding if it makes me happy, is there? Why do you have to talk to us this way? Angelica, with this kind of attitude, it's surprising you even managed to find someone to marry. Of course I found someone. Anyway, I'm just telling you now, don't think you'll have any say in my wedding plans, okay? And don't think you can interfere in my life once I'm married either. My fiancé isn't anything like Dad. He's not the type to just laugh things off. He's serious, dependable, and capable. I've decided he's the one I can trust with my future. Unlike my dad, who's always laughing, never serious, and can't even take care of things himself. It's honestly pathetic how easy it's been to manipulate him all these years. That's really unkind to say about your father, Angelica. Why should I care? He may have had money, but that was the only thing that mattered to me. Now that I'm getting married, my fiancé will be the one supporting me financially. So honestly, I won't need anything from you two anymore. Paying for the wedding can be your last act of parenting, the last thing you do for your daughter. Go all out with it. Don't hold back. Once I'm married, think of it as severing ties. It'll make things easier for everyone. So, you've seen us as nothing but a nuisance all this time? Wow, it took you long enough to notice. Dad's always been my puppet, doing whatever I wanted, and you're just this nagging figure pretending to be a parent when it suits you. I've been wanting to cut ties for ages, but up until now I couldn't because of the money you were sending me every month. Once I'm married, though, I won't have any need to rely on you two for anything. Isn't that a relief for you? No more monthly allowance going to a daughter who's finally leaving to start her own life. So just think of this wedding expense as some kind of severance payment, if that helps. We always thought that as our only daughter, you were someone precious to us, that raising you with care was something meaningful. But I guess that's just how we felt, wasn't it? Thanks for your effort, I guess. But honestly, if you wanted to be proper parents, you should have done a better job from the start. You could have at least tried to have some authority or dignity instead of just letting me do whatever I wanted. I see. Hey, are you kidding me? There's only $10,000 in the transfer. You must have made a mistake with the digits, right? $10,000 only? Well, it's meant to be some financial support for the wedding, so no, I don't think there's a mistake. What? Do you remember I'm your only daughter, right? No brothers or sisters to split the attention or money with. Yes, of course I remember that. You're our only daughter. Oh, come on. Are you actually serious? Only $10,000 for your one and only daughter's wedding? If you were a decent mother, you'd pay the whole thing. Otherwise, I might just leave you off the guest list. Come on, think about it. Even someone like you, who can't walk without crutches, ought to be able to figure out that the least you could do for your only daughter is to cover the wedding. Otherwise, what's the point of even being alive? You're just a burden on society who doesn't even do any housework, always relying on Dad to take care of everything. Pathetic.
Watch your mouth, young lady. You're getting too cocky. You know what? Fine. Consider this the last of anything you're getting from us. I'll make sure this is our final parting gift. Since you're apparently too good to even introduce us to your future husband or invite us to the wedding, why do you think you deserve any money from us? You're not getting a single cent more.
What? Hold on. Hey, old woman. What do you think you're doing? Don't get so full of yourself. You think I'll just accept not a single cent more, do you? Are you even listening to yourself? That wasn't me. It was your father. What? You're actually telling me Dad said that? That the dad who's got this dopey, timid expression and no backbone actually said something like that? Please, Mom, I don't know what game you're playing, but there's no way he would say that. I'm telling the truth. Even I was shocked when I saw how furious he was. You're serious? That guy really said that, acting like he's finally grown a spine? Hilarious. Anyway, whatever, but just pay the full amount already. Oh, really? Didn't you say you wanted to cut ties with us after getting married? Isn't it strange to be expecting financial help for a wedding if you're trying to end the relationship? Your father's outburst made me realize something, too. What are you going on about now? I'm your only daughter, right? Don't most parents feel obligated to pay for their only daughter's wedding? You're getting married and planning to be supported by your husband, aren't you? In that case, it makes no sense for us to still be financially involved. Why not rely on your fiancé instead of us? Since you're planning to cut ties, we have no reason to give you any more money. In fact, looking back, I realize we spoiled you far too much already. Huh? Don't even think you can decide something like this on your own. I'm about to get married, and what, you're just going to act like your money is more important than your daughter? You two are old now. How much longer do you think you'll even need that money? I wouldn't say that. You see, we never got to live for ourselves. Since you were born, your father and I put everything into raising you. We didn't get to enjoy much of life ourselves. Do you remember how you were so sickly when you were younger? We spent countless hours taking you to and from hospitals, and it was exhausting and expensive. Right, because you couldn't even raise me to be healthy, could you? All my memories from childhood are of being in and out of hospitals. Now I'm grown up and I'm still struggling to fit in socially. You two are lousy parents who couldn't even raise a healthy kid, so at this point the least you can do is make it up to me financially. We knew you struggled, which is why we've continued to send you money every month. When you said you wanted to move out, we understood it was a chance for you to finally have freedom and happiness. Even though it meant sending you a considerable allowance for a luxury apartment in the city, we agreed and supported you. We never even complained about the cost, but then you go out and find someone to marry without even introducing us. You treated us as a resource, nothing more, and that hasn't sat well with either of us. So this time, we're taking a stand. Consider us retired from being your parents. We're done here. Oh, please, don't make yourselves out to be the victims. It's my wedding day. What kind of parent would not cover their only daughter's wedding, especially when it's the one day that's supposed to be all about me? And here you are, pretending to be these poor, burdened parents. Give me a break. Actually, there was more to the $10,000. What? We planned to give you a house as a wedding present. A house where you could live comfortably and raise your own family, knowing they might need some extra care if they inherited any health issues. It was going to be my way of providing the support I couldn't provide when you were younger.
Wait, are you serious? That's why you were only sending $10,000 for the wedding?
Yes, I remember how much you dreamed of having a spacious house as a child. When you were younger, you couldn't even run around like other kids, and we had to live in a tiny apartment because of all the medical expenses. I thought it would be a way to give you the life you always wanted. I always regretted that I couldn't bring you into the world healthy. Your father has always felt conflicted about how much we sacrificed, but we did everything with you in mind. And now, hearing all this from you, it's clear we've reached a point where we have to let go.
What? You think a house makes up for all I had to go through as a kid? My childhood's gone and nothing can bring that back. But fine, if you're giving me a house, I'll let it go. I'll stop being so critical. Happy.
Do you realize now? I can see now more clearly than ever how toxic this relationship has become. Your father's outburst, it was like a revelation. This is where we draw the line.
Don't just act like you're over it. So where's the house? What's the plan for it? I want in on the planning.
There is no house. We're canceling it all.
What? You can't be serious. I already told my fiancé that you're covering the whole wedding. I told him it's only fair because from now on, he'll be the one taking care of me. And now you're telling me this? No way. I refuse to accept it.
You're reaping what you've sown. You made these plans without consulting us, and now you'll need to find your own way to make them happen. We don't owe you anything more than we've already given.
I'm the victim here. Isn't it a parent's duty to support their child? How can you just decide you're done supporting me?
You're the one who declared your independence. Now it's up to you to take responsibility for the life you wanted.
Hey, about yesterday, I got really heated, and I'm sorry for that. Now that I've cooled down a bit, I realize how out of control I was. It's honestly a little embarrassing.
It was the first time I've seen you get so emotional, you know? But I felt a bit happy, too. It felt like you were angry on my behalf.
Well, thinking about it, we've held ourselves back for so long and sacrificed so much for Angelica. But it's finally hit me. We've just been getting used and exploited over and over, and no matter how much we put in, it was never enough. It's clear we were never going to be appreciated. She's a grown woman now, healthy, and going about her life just as she pleases. She keeps bringing up her health issues from when she was younger, as if that justifies all her behavior now. To be honest, I feel like I can't keep putting up with it.
I never knew that's how you really felt. For so long I kept telling myself that it was my fault she wasn't born healthy. I thought if I can make up for it, then maybe I can atone for my failure as a parent. I let her get away with so much because of that guilt.
But she's of marriageable age now, and we've overindulged her far too much. She has no grasp of reality because of it. And then when something as monumental as her wedding comes up, she acts as if we're just her personal ATM. She doesn't respect us as parents or as individuals. I think it's time we stop spoiling her. We did our best. There's nothing left for us to feel guilty about.
Yes, you're right.
And it still eats at me to this day. The way she held on to her resentment about not being able to play with other children when she was younger. She actually went so far as to take out her anger on you by shoving you down those stairs. And the result was that you broke your leg. Now, even today, you rely on crutches to get around, and yet she sees this as something that was deserved, or something that you owe her. The way she mocked you, saying that since you couldn't even bring a healthy child into this world, you deserve to suffer too. I still can't forget that moment. Watching her treat you like that after all we'd been through together, it was like a slap in the face.
Her words, if you couldn't even bear a healthy daughter, then you deserve to know what it's like to live with a disability. I can still hear them in my head. I was exhausted physically and mentally back then, but I convinced myself that if I just kept making it up to her, then maybe, just maybe, she'd eventually forgive me. I really thought it was possible.
I've stood by, watching her treat you like that, feeling like I had to let it go. I used to think one day she'll grow up, move out, and finally find peace, maybe even come back to us with a sense of understanding. When she has her own kids, she'll see what we went through, and, with any luck, grow to appreciate the sacrifices we made. I thought that was how it would go, but now I realize we don't have to cling to that hope anymore. We don't have to keep hurting ourselves waiting for something that may never happen.
I think we both let our pity for her as a child blind us to how she was manipulating us. We sacrificed so much for her, thinking it was what she needed. But maybe, in a way, that's what turned her into the person she is today.
I'm not saying I want her to thank us. I can only imagine how hard it must have been to have a childhood filled with health problems. But to take that and turn it into a weapon against us, as if we purposely neglected her or failed her, I can't accept that anymore. She thinks our lives exist solely for her to do with as she pleases. But I won't let her treat us like this anymore.
Yes, I agree. I feel like I'm finally seeing clearly for the first time. She's healthy now, and she's the one who told us she didn't need us anymore. She made it very clear that we were obsolete to her, so why do we need to keep supporting her?
You know, when she hurt you, I should have stood up for you back then. I'm sorry for not doing more. You always told me that I was a kind man, easygoing, but maybe I was just passive, like Angelica said. I was probably just smiling my way through everything instead of facing the hard truth.
I know you were in a difficult position, caught between her and me. You wanted to consider her feelings while still supporting me. I know that must have been hard for you, so let's put the past behind us. Thinking about what happened back then doesn't change my injury, so there's no point in dwelling on it now.
Yes, you're right. Maybe from now on, we can live our lives without feeling like everything has to revolve around Angelica. Maybe we can finally start focusing on ourselves.
Yes, I think that could be wonderful. Living just for us. If we can actually do that, it would feel like a dream come true.
Hey, where the hell are you, old lady? Where did you disappear to? I'm at the family home right now, and you're nowhere to be found. So where did you go?
Oh, I see. Well, we don't live there anymore.
What? What do you mean? Why not? Where did you move to then?
Overseas.
Huh? What do you mean overseas? What's going on all of a sudden?
The money we'd saved up to buy you a home for when you got married. Since you told us you no longer needed our support, we used it to fund our move abroad. It no longer had a purpose tied to you, so we put it toward a fresh start for ourselves.
What? How dare you just do whatever you feel like with it? I came all the way to the family home just to talk about that, and you're just gone?
Well, you don't have a family home here anymore. You're the one who said you wanted to cut ties, remember? You told us that after you got married, we'd be unnecessary to you, and you didn't want us in your life. So we're simply moving forward and enjoying life without you in it. That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it? How can you just say it so easily? Because you started whining about not paying for my wedding, my fiancé got suspicious, checked my messages, and, well, now he's found out about our bad relationship. He's talking about calling off the wedding.
Wait, so you were hiding our whole situation from him?
I told him you weren't able to meet because of your injured leg, but that you were at least willing to pay for the wedding. That's the story I went with. Now, I don't have the money, and I can't make up any more excuses. This is my final plea. Please, just help me out this once. If you don't, I'm seriously going to end up alone. I might not be able to get married at all if you don't come through.
That's unfortunate, but it sounds like it just wasn't meant to be. You're healthy now. You can go find someone who's truly committed to being with you. Someone who won't get cold feet over family matters.
Hold on, I could fix this with the money. Don't you see that? So please help me out, just this one time.
We're done being at your beck and call. You know, words are something you can't take back once you've said them. You keep pointing out how hard it was being unwell as a child, but you don't understand that the things you've said to us, especially to me, have left wounds that won't heal. And then there's my leg, which was injured because of you. That will never heal either.
But it's not like I didn't suffer too. My childhood was full of hardships. Why can't you just help me this once? Doesn't a parent have a responsibility to support their child?
When you think of yourself as the only one who's suffered, eventually you'll find yourself in a place where no one is willing to help you. Life doesn't work the way you think it does. You need to understand this now. It's time you grew up and learned how to face the consequences of your own choices.
What? So that's it? You're just washing your hands of me just like that? After everything you put me through, too? After all, it's not my fault that I wasn't healthy as a kid, and you're just going to abandon me now?
Your perspective is exactly why this is happening. Instead of blaming everyone else, try to show some accountability. Grow up for your own sake. Angelica approached us with a contrite look on her face, her palms open as a gesture that screamed apology. It was a sight that once might have tugged at our hearts, but now it was met with an unwavering resolve. We had made it abundantly clear that we could no longer lend an ear to the tales spun by our selfish daughter, tales that seemed to have a single narrative thread woven with manipulation, entitlement, and blatant disregard for the consequences of her actions. We felt as though a boundary had been crossed, one that was not merely a line in the sand, but a deep chasm that we could not overlook. Looking back, it was evident that the engagement conversation had been clouded with an array of concerns from the very start. It was not just a simple agreement between two families, it had morphed into a complex web of issues that weighed heavily on our hearts. The whispers we had heard, concerns about Angelica's behavior and choices, had grown into a cacophony of alarm bells that we could no longer ignore. We had been willing to support her, to give her the benefit of the doubt, but the evidence was overwhelming. The engagement, which should have been a joyous occasion, was instead fraught with complications that seemed insurmountable. As the situation unfolded, one particular incident came to light, illuminating the extent of her selfishness and poor decision-making. It was a shocking revelation that changed everything for us. Once we learned of this betrayal, the discussions about the engagement came to a sudden and jarring halt. The air was thick with tension, and it felt as though the ground beneath us had shifted. We were left grappling with reality that was painful to accept. Angelica had crossed a line, and the trust that had once bound us was now shattered. In the wake of this tumultuous episode, Angelica found herself in an unexpectedly precarious situation. The financial support that we, her parents, had once provided, support that she had taken for granted, was abruptly cut off. It was a harsh wake-up call for her, one that she had seemingly never anticipated. The vibrant city she had chosen to inhabit, with its dazzling lights and the allure of independence, had now transformed into a battleground of financial struggles. It was a stark contrast to the life she had known, one filled with comfort and security, and it was evident that she was woefully unprepared for the challenges ahead. We had always warned her about the realities of urban living, especially in a city notorious for its high cost of living. It is a place where dreams can quickly turn into nightmares if one is not adequately prepared to face its demands. Yet she had brushed off our concerns as if they were mere obstacles in her path to independence. Now, however, the consequences of her decisions were coming home to roost, and the weight of that realization was beginning to dawn on her. Without our financial backing, Angelica faced the daunting task of paying rent in an expensive city. She had chosen her apartment with enthusiasm, viewing it as a stepping stone to independence. However, that apartment, once a symbol of her newfound freedom, has become a heavy burden, one that she could no longer bear alone. The realities of bills and expenses were crashing down around her, and she found herself staring into the abyss of financial insecurity. In her desperation, she sought out part-time work, a necessary step that we had hoped would spark a sense of responsibility within her. This was not merely a job, it was a lifeline, a chance for her to build her life from the ground up. Yet the irony of her situation was palpable. She had once reveled in comforts provided by our support, and now she was forced to accept a life filled with frugality and hard work. We were cautiously hopeful that this experience would help her mature, but we also feared the emotional toll it could take on her. Reports began to filter back to us about her new living situation. She had managed to secure a low-paying job and found a modest apartment that was a far cry from the life of luxury she had once known. We understood that this sacrifice was essential for her survival, Yet we couldn't help but feel a deep concern for her well-being. The environment she had chosen might be a catalyst for her growth, but it was also fraught with dangers that she had yet to fully comprehend. As I reflected on her predicament, a wave of mixed emotions washed over me. I felt disappointment, yes, but I also felt a profound sense of concern for her future. I wanted her to learn the lessons that life was so desperately trying to teach her. It was imperative for Angelica to grasp the reality that life is not simply a continuation of the privileges she had enjoyed during her upbringing. The world outside her door is harsh and unyielding, and she needed to understand that it does not owe her anything. This realization was crucial for her growth, and I hoped she would come to terms with it sooner rather than later. This journey should serve as a wake-up call for her. It was time for Angelica to shed her naivety and face the world with a sense of realism and maturity. The sooner she acknowledged her situation and took ownership of her actions, the better equipped she would be for the challenges that lay ahead. It was a daunting prospect, but one that was essential for her development as an individual. While I struggled with my feelings, I could not shake the sense that this experience was also an opportunity for Angelica to confront the truth about herself. I still cared for her deeply, despite the heartache and disappointment her actions had caused. The love I held for her as a parent remained steadfast, but I recognized the necessity of tough love at this juncture. It was time for her to realize the consequences of her choices and understand that as an adult she must take responsibility for her actions and decisions. I found myself reflecting on her upbringing, examining the choices we made as parents. Did we enable her selfish tendencies without meaning to? Were we too lenient, allowing her to believe that the world revolved around her and her desires? These questions haunted me, and I grappled with the idea that perhaps our parenting choices had inadvertently led her down this tumultuous path. I questioned whether we had shielded her from the realities of life, and if that shielding had now backfired spectacularly. Yet while these reflections were important, I ultimately realized that the responsibility for her choices lay squarely on her shoulders. Angelica had to confront the consequences of her actions, and in doing so she would hopefully learn valuable lessons about accountability, perseverance, and the strength of character. Life is filled with challenges, and the sooner she learns that overwhelming these challenges is crucial for her personal growth, the better prepared she will be for the future. As I thought about her trajectory, a flicker of hope emerged within me. I hoped she would find the inner strength to rise above her current circumstances. The struggles she faced now may seem overwhelming, but they can also be the catalyst for profound transformation. This experience should propel her towards a brighter future, one rooted in resilience and determination. Angelica needed to understand that every setback could serve as a setup for comeback. True strength lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in adapting and persevering through them. The world is not always kind, but it is often in the unkind moments that we discover our greatest potential. I wanted her to learn that nothing in life comes easy, and that personal growth often stems from confronting difficulties head-on. In conclusion, while her current situation is undoubtedly challenging, it holds the potential for deep personal growth and transformation. I wanted Angelica to emerge from this stronger, wiser, and more self-reliant than ever before. I hoped she would learn to confront her reality with an open heart and a willingness to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. This is not the end for her, rather it's a new beginning that could lead her toward a future filled with promise and possibility. As she navigated this new chapter in her life, I wanted her to find the courage to stand on her own 2 feet. Life is not about relying on others, it's about taking charge and making decisions that will lead to personal fulfillment. I trusted that, in time, she would come to appreciate the importance of self-reliance and the necessity of hard work. Ultimately, this experience should serve as a lesson in accountability and growth. It is crucial that she realizes the real world is filled with obstacles and that overcoming them will build her character. She must embrace the journey ahead, understanding that every experience, whether good or bad, will contribute to her development. The challenges she faced now may seem daunting, but I believed they would mold her into a person capable of not only overcoming adversity, but thriving in its midst. I wanted her to embrace this opportunity for growth, allowing her experiences to guide her towards a stronger, more resilient future. There were moments when I felt overwhelmed by the weight of our situation, times when I wondered if I had done enough as a parent or if I had failed her in some fundamental way. I often revisited our family dynamics, reflecting on our communication patterns and the moments where we could have intervened or offered guidance more effectively. The times when she had asked for things and we had acquiesced too easily had perhaps given her the impression that she was entitled to whatever she desired. Moreover, I recognized that I had sheltered her from the harsh realities of life. I had shielded her from the disappointments that often accompany adulthood. I wanted her to be happy, and I had tried hard to provide her with every opportunity, but in doing so I might have inadvertently robbed her of the chance to develop resilience. As a parent, it is a delicate balance, nurturing while also preparing your child for the world outside. I had hoped that Angelica would eventually learn from her mistakes, but the path she was on was uncertain. Each day I found myself reflecting on what the future might hold for her. Would she rise to the occasion and learn from her experiences, or would she continue to struggle under the weight of her choices? These questions plagued me, and while I tried to remain hopeful, the uncertainty was difficult to bear. I wanted nothing more than for her to find her footing, to learn the lessons that life was so eager to teach her. As time went on, I began to see glimpses of change in her. While she was still grappling with the realities of adulthood, I noticed a flicker of determination in her eyes. It was as if she was finally beginning to understand the magnitude of her situation. Each small step she took towards independence was a sign that she was learning, albeit slowly. The conversations we had became more meaningful, laced with a sense of mutual respect and understanding that had been absent before. I knew that this journey would not be easy for her. There would be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when she might feel overwhelmed by the weight of her responsibilities. However, I believed that each challenge she faced was an opportunity for growth, a chance for her to discover her own strength and resilience. I hoped she would learn to embrace the struggles, to see them as a stepping stone toward a brighter future. As I continued to reflect on our relationship, I recognized that this journey was not just about Angelica. It was also about me as a parent. I was learning to navigate the complexities of our dynamic, to find a balance between support and tough love. I was realizing that being a parent means allowing your child to face the consequences of their actions, even when it is painful to watch. It was a hard lesson for both of us, but one that was ultimately necessary for her development. In the end, I wanted Angelica to thrive, to find her own path and create a life that was uniquely hers. I hoped that she would take the lessons learned from this experience and carry them forward, using them as a foundation upon which to build her future. I wanted her to understand that life is a journey filled with twists and turns, and that the way she responds to adversity will shape her character in profound ways.
Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.